The news summary. Good evening. The government is expected to confirm officially tomorrow that Air Seychelles is fully back in state ownership. SBC News has learned that the deal to divest Etihad's 40% shareholding in the business has been completed. It's understood the Middle East airline has also agreed to slash Air Seychelles' outstanding debt by 20%. Etihad bought its $20 million stake in 2012 and provided a $25 million loan to the struggling flag carrier. However, it is reported the government here was expecting to buy back all Etihad's shares at nominal value. Air Seychelles currently owes $38 million to its creditors, who include Etihad and other bondholders. It's believed members of a new board for Air Seychelles were being discussed at today's Cabinet Ministers meeting. The Central Bank of Seychelles is now able to purchase government securities from investors who find themselves in need of liquidity. This follows the operationalization of a facility to purchase and sell such securities in the form of treasury bills, treasury bonds, and other government-guaranteed securities, including the Development Bank of Seychelles bond and the Property Management Corporation's PMC bond. The governor of the central bank, Caroline Abel, says that in the past such securities were sold in exceptional cases, for instance, if a buyer was already available. But now that there is a force majeure in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, which might increase demand for the service, the CBS has found it opportune to formalize the process. The facility was launched during a press conference at the central bank this morning.
This facility was part of the series of measures that the bank approved last year in light of the pandemic, and it necessitated a change in the Central Bank Act in terms of the time that this facility will come into place, and also the framework of issuing a notice when the central bank decides to open the facility. We are doing it now, taking into consideration some of the removal of support measures, for example, the FA4JR, and last year also we received calls where people did not necessarily want to did not have direct lending of banks, or did not want to go under the credit schemes because they did not want to increase their level of indebtedness. But central bank, when we implement a policy, we look at things globally, how a policy will affect the entire economy. So we find it to be fitting now to come forward to put a facility in place so that individuals, investors, be it individually or jointly, can come to the bank if the need arises for them to cash in on their government securities, either in whole or in part, that will facilitate the access of liquidity if the individual find that this is the channel they want to use.
Seychelles came out 52nd this year on the Reporters Without Borders World Press Freedom Index. This is the sixth consecutive year that Seychelles' position improves on the index, which ranks 180 countries according to the level of freedom given to journalists. The report says that the media is more independent in Seychelles and is now able to tackle sensitive topics like corruption and nepotism. The report, however, talks about new threats that might undermine the work of journalists, such as the severe penalties imposed on journalists in defamation cases. The CEO of the Media Commission, Ibrahim Afif, says that the new ranking reflects the progress made regarding the freedom of the press, but believes that improvements are needed in the way the evaluation is made.
I was rather encouraged that we have moved up 11 steps in the ranking, but still I feel that we could have done better. If the people who are compiling these indexes have the real information at hand. What happens is they depend on sources of information in the country. They contact a number of people. For example, I am contacted as the CEO of the Media Commission to ask me a few questions, but then they also contact, I think, politicians, newspaper editors, journalists themselves, etc. And depending on what they say, they formulate an opinion. And what I think sometimes happens is also by the time they conduct their research and by the time they publish their report, there have been, in the intervening period, there have been changes. And I think if they were aware of the latest changes, I think we could have done much better in the ranking.
Encouraging a business to devise more activities for visitors will be among the revised priorities for tourism officials. Shireen Francis says the ministry responsible for tourism is keen to encourage cultural and other new ways to entertain visitors. She was speaking days after being appointed to her new role as the government's tourism principal secretary, promoting Seychelles overseas and developing the country as a destination. And she's already been discussing ideas with the minister, Sylvestre Radegonde.
He wants to see a little bit more activities on the islands that visitors can engage in. So this also will take priority over the other priorities of the department as well.
What about something like a water park? What would you say?
If it's something that the country has space to accommodate, why not? At the end of the day, the government is there to facilitate, but we need the private sector to come in and do this kind of investment.
The police have reported that a French woman apparently hanged herself while vacationing with her partner at the Club Med Hotel on Sainte-Anne. According to a police statement, the incident was reported to them at around 8:48 last night by a hotel nurse. Police say they are currently investigating the incident while they await the result of the autopsy to establish the circumstances of the woman's exact cause of death. In a communiqué, Club Med Seychelles says that it deeply regrets this situation, noting that their thoughts are with the families and close ones of the deceased. The communiqué further notes that the hotel's services are liaising with all those concerned to ease the procedures and are doing everything possible to respond to this tragic event. But they say that, as is the official procedure, this is now a police case and they cannot comment more. The 32-year-old woman arrived in Seychelles with her partner on the 21st of April and was due to leave the country on the 30th of this month. On the Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Trade, Nadi Hassan, met with the Directors General and Presidents of the various boards of directors of the entities which depend on the government budgets. The meeting took place yesterday at the headquarters of that ministry at Liberty House. A statement says that Minister Hassan emphasized the importance of these meetings, which he said aims to ensure that CEOs and chairs of different boards have common strategies and that they are in line with national objectives. And with this, we come to the end of this news summary. Thank you for watching. I'll be back at 8 for the news in Creole. Have a very pleasant evening.